Okay, welcome to Tuesday Talks with Trick. um, I'm actually recording this on Monday, the day before, so that I can release it on time on Tuesday. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna start putting on some makeup, and I had a couple things I wanted to talk about. As far as stuff, there's my ears. Stuff going on for me this week. I have been absolutely obsessed with this. It's like a little clicker game, like a mobile game called Animal Restaurant. And it's not a very good game. And honestly, it's more like an ad delivery system, but it has really cute art. It's like an idle game, and it's like you run a restaurant and you earn fish. But there's a thing where you have to like hold down a button to like promote, so it gives you like that active engagement. But I actually made a turbo button. I'm sure this violates the TOS. Out of some hair clips, I can clip it and hold down the button. So it's my turbo button. Engineering. There's like a community of people. There's like a friendship feature, and you have people come work in your buffet with the underage worker. Also, the story is like kind of dark. It's sort of like got like, you know how like some Pokemon, it's like you read their little descriptions and you're like, I'm sorry, what? Like the polar bear is coming in like, oh, I wanted to eat your sushi one last time because like my home is melting in the polar ice caps. And like there's a lot of like ecological stuff. It's not like super deep. It's just kind of dark. But let's put on some foundation, I guess. But the thing I really wanted to talk about today for just a little bit was, I don't know if y'all get this, but sometimes I'll be watching a show or reading a book or a series, especially series. I notice that I'm really into them. I kind of mainline them. And then it starts to get toward the end, like the last season or like the last few chapters. And it's like, I just can't finish it. And I was trying to think about why, because like I've been mainlining for a while, Babylon 5, and now I'm kind of stuck at the end because it's getting like, I don't know what it is. It's like, it's not so much that I don't want to finish it because then it'll be over. It's like, I don't know, it's like the story escalation, especially in later episodes, starts to get really intense. And there's something about that intensity that I really like. Like, I mean, that's what makes stories engaging, but do you know what I mean? It makes it really hard because it's like, I get really anxious about like mind control kind of stories or like forced pregnancy kind of stuff. Gets me like, it's just hard to follow. And because I find it kind of triggering in some of it, but and that's not the problem here. It's just like, it almost seems overwhelming to finish when you've invested so much emotional energy in like watching it and binging it and being in that world. And then to think like, oh, it's coming to the end. And it's not about like, oh, if I put it off, I can stay in that world. It's just like, I almost am expecting it to be like, this is going to be a lot, you know, based on my experience with the other media. Because there's some stuff, I do this with anime a lot too. There's some stuff, it's like, I can watch the first 3 quarters, and then it's that last quarter or third that somehow just feels emotionally insurmountable. And it's not because like the story will escalate. So like a lot of times, like I find myself watching stuff that's like really fluffy because I know I can finish it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's, but then there's other stuff. So it's rare for me to binge something all the way through. Like one of the only things I've like binged all the way through right when it came out in one night was Jessica Jones. And there was something, I think, like I'm wondering about like, is there something to do with like sort of media I identify with versus media that like I'm experiencing new things that I haven't experienced in a way that I can identify with. Like I feel like a lot of women can identify with maybe not the specific trauma in Jessica Jones, but a lot of the associated stuff. And it seems kind of familiar in some ways because it's not like I can't handle intense stories. But then there are other ones, especially ensemble casts. It almost seems like harder. And I wonder if it's because I haven't like, there was a Dan Olson quote in his 50 Shades of Grey video about, and I forget where he got it from, I'll try and look it up, about a visual novel called Lady Killer in a Bind. But some of it was the idea that fiction lets us, you learn empathy, right? It lets you experience things from either a different perspective or a different kind of experience than what you know. And you can always relate different things back to it, but it's like kind of a way to do emotional tourism. Because, like, I read a lot of, like, romance novels. I love them. But one of the things they pointed out, it's like, oh, it's fun to spend a few hours in these torrid love affairs, but they would be exhausting in real life. And I wonder if some of it is, like, maybe I'm in some ways, like, when you get, like, really into a series, like, it does feel a little bit more like, not like your life. Like, obviously there's a difference between, like, fiction and other things, but it starts to feel you're more emotionally invested, and it's less tourism because you're not just involved in, like, the meta of watching it, but now you're kind of, like, involved in the story in a way that kind of crosses over into your own life because you've become attached to characters and stuff. And I don't think that that's unhealthy. You know, it's like, that's part of it. You want characters that people identify with and root for or root against or are emotionally invested in. But for me, sometimes it's like, oh no, it's too real. Like, I'm out of the meta and I'm in the story, kind of. And I think that that's a testament to good storytelling, but also a testament to the fact that I get really anxious. So let's see, let's do some powder. So I don't know, like, so that was something I've been kind of musing about. And I wonder too, I'm like that a lot with video games. And it's not just the difficulty, it's just like the story's about to get real. And I wonder if that's something that affects, how I engage with these media. So I don't know if anybody's listening and you have stories about things that you have binged and then not finished. But I will finish Babylon 5 because it is amazing. Just as an aside, the first time I watched the pilot and I saw Jakar, I was like, and he's like skipping around and he's delightfully machinating all these things. I was like, that's the best one. Like, that's going to be, and Richard like looked at me and said, well, he's the best character. I'm like, okay, awesome. And actually, I don't have any spoilers for the end of Babylon 5 because that's the other thing I think related to this. I usually love spoilers. I love knowing what's going to happen at the end and then watching it happen because it helps alleviate some of that tension. And I know for some people, they find that that reduces their enjoyment in the work because some people, I think, enjoy surprises more and they enjoy those kinds of like moments. And that's not something that I enjoy because it induces anxiety in me because I startle easily. And it has like similar responses to that. So I wonder if that's for the people that don't like spoilers and do like spoilers. I wonder where the anxiety crossover is, you know? But it's funny with Babylon 5 because it's like, you know, it's an old show and I've just somehow managed to avoid spoilers this long. And it's like, and because it's old, it's like people aren't really talking about it that much unless you seek it out. So it's really easy so it's fun to have one that you do that with, except now it's like getting to the point where I'm like, oh my God. So I'm trying to debate whether I want to read spoilers or not to kind of get through the end because it would probably help me finish it. But there's something definitely unique about watching something unspoiled. And I don't think one is better or worse. And I think sometimes when people talk about it, they're like, oh no, you have to, don't read spoilers. Oh, you'll love it, because they want to share that moment that they had with you. But I think something that, and I have to remember they're just being excited, but it's different. People are going to need to absorb media in different ways. And the way I try to frame it too is things like, oh man, I watched it unspoiled and I had this wow moment, you know. I don't know, you can talk about it in ways and wanting to share that in ways that maybe don't make people feel like they're cheating by looking at spoilers. I don't know, spoiler culture is always its own kind of thing too, because I think in some ways it's gotten out of hand because people get, and there's sort of a train about like, what is a spoiler, what's not a spoiler, when can you say the spoilers, and it's and in general, I try not to like do spoilery things because I want to be considerate of other people, but there's a certain line where it's like, is this a spoiler or not a spoiler? Like for some people, if you say anything about the media, even if it's not directly related to character or plot, people are like, people get angry. So it's, yeah, I don't know, just trying to make spaces where there's an expectation. This is like an extra spoiler-free zone, and this is like the medium kind of no plot or character spoilers, but we might talk about things in the show. And then the free-for-alls, I don't know what to do about it, because it's like, it's not like, and again, this is all like minor problems, right? But okay, let's get a little taupe. It's called That's Taupe. I love the names of it. Good little mirror. But so anyway, so that's kind of how I feel about spoiler culture. I think that it's completely valid to want to experience media in the way that you want to experience it, but other people are going to experience it differently, and it's better to like kind of negotiate what kind of space something is going to be ahead of time. But like, I just know that When I Met Your Mother, I never watched, but the night that it aired, somebody posted the name of the mother in like the top line of a Facebook post that was going out to all of their friends. And that, I feel, was like kind of an over the line. That was an actual like spoiler, kind of over the line. But then there's some other stuff that people consider spoilers that are like, I would consider extremely minor. But then I also have to remember that like spoilers do not generally diminish my enjoyment of work. They help me actually do it. Because like there's some things that I find kind of uncomfortable that I like to know about ahead of time, because then I can know, either someone can tell me what episodes to skip, or I have a good sense of where the story is going so I can enjoy the ride without having like that uncontrollable tension. It's like riding a roller coaster that you've been on before. It's still really fun. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my, here, let me take my fluff down. That is my feeling on spoilers. I forgot how we got here, but we have arrived. So with that, I'm going to sign off and try and get this all cleaned up. But I really appreciate you guys supporting me on Patreon. Please check out my music. I've actually uploaded all of my Danny Or Thanks tracks are also on SoundCloud now. So you can play those on SoundCloud. And all of those are available royalty-free for anyone to use for whatever, or remix. So that's the licensure that they're under. But yeah, tune in. Tomorrow, when you're seeing this, it'll be Tuesday, I hope. And 6 at 6, our guest is Gundo from the Filk community. So I hope that everybody has a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon.